mortar explosion shuts down a combat turret, vital to repelling the relentless waves of Xenos. From the still smoldering crater springs an orc full of rage. The bullets whistle. Who will prevail? If you have the eye for details, you already know that the die is cast. Let's get to work. Welcome, I'm Flo from Chronicles of Tiny Battles, and I will be your host for the next 20 minutes. You will see how I crafted and painted 1 terrain and 7 miniatures, plus 2 props to finalize this epic diorama. Now, if you love what you're seeing, let's make a deal. I have many stories to tell with dioramas. I feel this urge to fulfill my visions. I have to write the Chronicles of Tiny Battles. Here is the deal. If you've followed me for a while, you can see that I don't have that many videos posted. But one thing is striking, each video is better than the last. Recently, I've been challenging myself to improve my painting skills to really bring the dioramas to life. I'm still learning my craft and it's never perfect, but I don't count the hours and I give it my all. I have so many stories to tell. Help me get this video out to the world. Click the like button if you like it. Share the video on social networks if you think someone has to see it, and subscribe to the channel to ride along. It is a gift that you can give simply and free of charge to the creators you love, to bring their message to a wider audience, which is the whole point of sharing on social networks. And if you do this, I promise you that I will create dioramas, each one more epic and stunning than the last. That's our deal. When you subscribe to the channel, you'll also have access to the community area of YouTube, where I like to chat with subscribers and do polls for what is next on the channel, like this poll here that is still open. The ultimate support is to subscribe to my Patreon. The link is in the description below the video. If you love what I do and want to see more of it, you can be sure that you will be contributing directly to the growth of the channel by becoming a patron. By becoming a patron, you will allow me to spend more time on the channel and produce more. I must have spent about 80 hours on the making of this video, scattered across several months. Directly supporting the channel means that, as a working dad of a young child, I will be able to turn down other paid work to devote more time to creating dioramas. If that's the path you choose, my gratitude will be limitless. Now, as we are getting to the craft, tell me in the comments what you preferred in this video so that I can do more of it. I have had the idea for this diorama for quite some time. Orks vs Death Korps of Krieg. It has been in my mind since the release of the Octarius Kill Team box. To me, this was yet another statement of this iconic matchup, 2 emblematic rivals, 2 factions whose animosity has been forged in the fire of war. The Astra Militarum must be the Orks' favorite opponents, squishy and numerous. The army of men is a special treat. And we all have in mind a legendary face-off, Commissar Yarrick versus Gaskell Thraka. Let me share a thought of mine and tell me what you think of it. I like to see the epic in unnamed warriors. I think there is no need for big names, no need for the biggest of the biggest. For me, it's all about the pose of the miniatures, the dynamic, the action, the story. And that's the idea behind this whole diorama. I wanted to make an epic and timeless face-off, a classic, an ode to the anonymous warriors who also embody the heroic and the formidable, whose feat of arms go untold. Before we deal with this big bad boy, we're going to look after these tiny, cute baby orcs. But baby orcs don't fight, do they? With baby knives, and baby axes, and baby machine guns. Here is the result, and we'll see how I did. I am really trying to get the most out of these express paints by WAAAGH. Anyway, these baby orcs, well, they're not babies actually. These orc boys will be in the background of the diorama, so I don't need to go into too much detail. I will keep it to a minimum and pay attention to the metal parts that will draw the eye. But why are they so small? It's to create an effect of distance. The wave of orcs will look like it's a long way off, when in fact it's only a few centimeters behind the main stage. I've never seen anyone use this optical illusion in a diorama. Have you? This deserves a like, don't you think? Come on, I can feel you itching. Go on, do it, and you'll feel a lot better. Thank you very much. This is actually a good opportunity to try out my paint scheme, which I'm going to replicate on the main orc, the big one, who's strafing some Imperial guards. I'm not comfortable with damage effects yet, but I've got to give this barrel some love, because it's going to be in the foreground. Too bad for me. The good news is, it's finally time to move on to this angry gentleman. He's bigger than the few models I've painted before, so it's a suitable playground for the brush. The express paints really make the job easier. The tones are very pleasant, and I will be able to concentrate on the contrast, on the NMM in particular. Look at that green. By the way, the video isn't sponsored. I'm painting with lots of thin layers, and little by little, it's taking shape. something very interesting is going to happen. When I paint the NMM on the boot, a quiet striking line is created from the end of the barrel to the boot. I should have left it like that, but then I continued with an effect on the barrel, and I think it broke that line. Here it is. I add another heat effect to the barrel. It adds a nice touch of blue with the green and red already there, and the effect is pretty cool. But I lost my line. What do you think, guys? At this point of the diorama, I had already exceeded the reasonable deadline for finishing the diorama, and by a long way. So I decided to learn from my latest mistake. I'm going to concentrate on 1 or 2 points of interest on the mini, where I will put my effort, and I will try to save time on the rest. I chose the helmet and the rifle. My main idea was to go for an almost monochrome and dull look, in keeping with the spirit of the Death Korps of Krieg, but with some interesting accents. First, I sketched a rough outline in grisaille to place my light. It's almost boring to stay with one color, especially grey, but it's exciting to see the NMM starting to form, and although it's delayed, the satisfaction will be all the greater when all I have to do is tint everything with express paints. I'm going to use cool tones for the metal parts and warmer tones for the clothes. And that is pure satisfaction. It's so easy and the result is so striking. What I like about several thin layers is that each layer isn't determinative of the final result. Each layer is just an attempt, until one lucky brush stroke. And that takes all the pressure off. You don't have to be precise, you don't have to restrict your movements. It's liberating, and the brush strokes flow with delight. Once the touch-ups are finished, I start again on the other 2 unfortunate guards who've just had a knock bomb drop on their heads. One of them is dead, the other is crawling around, writhing in pain. I spend a lot less time on these two miniatures, which I consider almost to be props, and yet I'm pretty pleased with the result, especially considering how much time I spent on them. The final touch on our gas mask hero is the slight glow on his laser rifle. Not too much, because it's not plasma, but just a little bit for fun. And finally comes the famous turret, the vital turret, which was knocked out of action by the Ork mortars, and which was desperately needed to repel the waves of Orks. Once down, it didn't take long for the Orks to make contact with the defense line. I could have started straight away with the airbrush to place my lights, but I want to practice doing it with a paintbrush. I want to develop that feel to place the light where it has the best effect, and I want to practice quick blending with a brush. After that, I smoothed out the transitions with an airbrush to save time. Now comes the long-awaited moment to put everything in place and let the action unfold. But as I said in the beginning of the video, the die has been cast. As the large caliber bullets whistle, a burst first hits the ground, then another lodges in the guard's ribcage. In a spray of blood, shot into the air, the insides of the defender explode. The humans are lost. The Orks have broken through the defense lines, under a sky dark with the smoke of their infernal machines. Hope leaves the battlefield, like life leaves the body of the soldier of the Imperium. The planet will fall, it's an Orc victory. This was Hold the Line, thank you.